I'm going to try something that maybe can't be done. I'm going to try to explain the Apokatastaseos Panton. Now, that's a Greek phrase that means the restoration of all things. And it comes to us, or at least I first heard of this phrase, in the book of Acts, chapter 3, verses 19 through 21. And, let me just draw it out for you, all right? And then we can maybe talk about it. Here we go. So, let's write the word stasis. Now, when I write stasis here, it means standing. It means like, homeostasis. Like a household has to have a homeostasis where things are kind of consistent. We know what the ground rules are. It's not like chaotic of a household. That would be a destabilizing household. Well, here's stasis. This is the universe as is. But then, let's see. Boom. Let's make this a little bit more into a circle. That looks a little better. There we go. Okay. The thing is, a lot of things move away from their stasis. They go around, and sometimes they never come back. And it's interesting because this word, Apokatastaseos, Panton, is actually how the ancient Greek world used to talk about the moon, where the moon would have its stasis when it's fully lit, a full moon, and when it would orbit around the earth and then come back again, that would be doing a full return. The same thing is true when we do a revolution around the sun on the planet Earth. We have one place, we loop, then we come back around to it. Boom. This phrase is spelled like this. Apokat. Now, I understand what you're going to say. That's English. Well, I could have written in Greek, but I didn't want to because I'd have to think about it a little bit more. Anyways, Apokatastaseos Panton. This is the phrase that happens in Acts chapter 3. Peter is preaching on Pentecost, and he talks about how one day we're all waiting for the Christ to return so that we can have the Apokatastaseos Panton, the restoration of all things. Now, we all know that we've kind of lost the plot. We've made a mess of ourselves and the world around us. Our own sin habits and addictions have affected us negatively and affected those that we care about and even those that we don't even know about. And so, into cosmic history happens that. So that is the most basic rendition of the Mount of Calvary where Jesus was crucified, which Colossians chapter 1 talks about. That is what affected the reconciliation of all things. So let's put that. Now, it's interesting that Paul uses that phrase, the reconciliation of all things, because for Paul, he's not talking about some things might come back to their original stasis. He's not trying to say, oh, only the beloved of God who do exactly as God says, according to what your preacher says, will have that full return. No, Paul is talking about the reconciliation of all. And that word Panton right there, pan, means all. Now, most English translations of the Bible say all things, but a more accurate translation would say all. Because this makes it sound like we're just talking about things. No, this is the reconciliation of everything, everyone, from every when. The reconciliation of all. And again, Apokatastaseos means restoration of all. So we have this circle here. And we are living in this epoch of time somewhere between the reconciliation of all things and returning back to our original stasis, which is the Apokatastaseos Panton. Now, in John chapter 12, there's a curious passage where Jesus says, I will draw all people to myself. The word draw there is a Greek word helkiso, which also means drag. It also means persuade. It can also, in some places, mean disarm. I will draw, drag, persuade, maybe even disarm all people until they come back. This is the restoration of all things, which is preached about on Pentecost, but we only read Acts chapter 2. We don't often get around to Acts chapter 3. So this is my basic attempt to try to explain that really for the early church, the Christian gospel was always about the reconciliation, restoration, and renewal of all, as foretold by the prophets long ago, as Acts chapter 3, verses 19 through 21 say. So I hope you enjoyed this. Go look up those passages for yourself. All right? They are Acts 3, Colossians 1, and I think Matthew 18 is where Jesus himself talks about the renewal of all. So go check it out. Have fun. Thanks.